It all started a few months after she was born, and they kind of carried on more than from that day forward. You'd hold her, you kind of pick her up and tickle her, kiss her cheeks, her hands, her shoulders, her belly whenever you're changing her, but she would never look at you. She would never look at your eyes. She kind of stare off in distance around. And then it started out that she was having moments where she would just turn her eyes to a corner, and we were worried, was she having seizures? Certain attributes like that. On top of that, she wasn't babbling like our other kids. Zoe is my third child, and she was not babbling, making audible sounds, not even ma or da. She would make sounds, but they weren't anything in terms of any constant. It was more of just of a vowel sound. And I think my wife was the one who started noticing before I did. She started questioning the symptoms more and more, and then she brought me on board. And then we would pursue it with the provider. She put through the referral. We got the clinical diagnosis, and then which was a fee in itself. But once the clinical diagnosis came in, and the school district, through the recommendation of her main physician, referring them to us, then they helped me grow. The early childhood development and education came into play. That's when we first heard about all the available support from not only from the clinical side, but more so from the district, giving us questions and answers that we didn't even think about. The referral went to Regions Hospital Behavioral Health and Clinic out of Woodbury. Ironically, she was scheduled for, I believe it was March of 2020. COVID hit. That observation and everything was delayed for 4 months. The whole team was put on hiatus because of the whole primary focus was COVID. But that's who diagnosed her both, the two pediatric, psychiatric clinicians, along with the speech pathologist and occupational pathologist, interviewing her and doing a 4-hour observation. That's how we got the clinical diagnosis from her. Once that diagnosis came in, the primary care provider reviewed it, and that primary care provider flagged her name and sent the information to the school district on our behalf. And then that's when their diagnosis started coming into play as well. If it wasn't for the diagnosis coming in from both the clinical and the school, it gave us validation, it gave us hope. More importantly, I think for me, because I've been the one kind of spearing it, the momentum. I need the push now. You have your 2 answers, you have your first and second. This was a hard-nosed, in the book, diagnosis that I have for the school and the hospital. The question is, what do you do with it next? You know, the next steps after the initial interview process, they brought in, of course, their speech, occupational therapist, so on and so forth. So they had to first diagnose her. The diagnosis came in on parallel to what Regions Behavioral Health was doing, the same thing. Once that was set forth, the next steps were bringing in the right folks, assigning a teacher directly to her. And that teacher wasn't even just a teacher. And honestly, for us, it was my teacher, my project manager, my support. Not only just the fact is that she there to support Zoe, but the fact that she was answering questions before I even had them come to my mind. And I would refer to them after I had meetings with her. They were bringing in their speech therapist for her, occupational therapist for her, the locations where they were going to come out of. Yeah, in all honesty, it was a director who brought in the right folks, and thank God for them. She's loving her experience. My daughter can say her teacher's name, can say colors, I call her my little owl. That's the way I call Zoe. And just a small example is, everybody has a distinctive sneeze, and I find it quite comical in that sense. My daughter has hearing of an owl, and I can understand that in a sense. Sometimes it's too much for her. The world can be too much because she can't isolate that. That being said, though, her teacher was gone because of COVID, came back. She had missed her. You can tell she had missed her. They were in a gymnasium playing, quite a big gymnasium with a bunch of other kids. She was in one corner, and teacher had came in and wanted to see who was there because she goes to Fraser, but she had came in to visit them because they're in the same hall down the road, or down the hall in the same building. And she sneezed. I don't know how she noticed this. And all the noise that was going on in the gymnasium. So he stopped, meandered and looked for her like a heartbeat, found her, grabbed her hand, and sneezed next to her, as acknowledging, "I missed you. I missed you." That brought tears to her, and it brought tears to us right there. It's just if I can tell anything else is to share anything is stop thinking and start seeing how your child thinks, because their view is different than anything you can imagine. As a 2020 parent, just don't stop taking the steps. Don't stop taking the steps. Help me grow, the teacher. Ask questions until you are not only your mind, but your soul and your heart have answered those questions, because you really have to answer those. And don't hesitate on asking for help. It puts pressure not only as a parent, puts pressure on the relationship, puts pressure on the household. But you have to know that you are not alone in this. You're not the first or the last. At the same time, you don't know who you could help.